back for the final session of the final show of season 4, the finale. You are listening to IBGR.network, of course, and we are absolutely delighted that you can be with us today. IBGR, of course, is a call sign as a radio station, but if you've been here any time at all, you now know that we are so much more than a radio station. We are a network of global entrepreneurs coming to you from our living rooms and our studios to help you and support you and guide you and bring the knowledge and insights we've got as entrepreneurs and hoping that it will do you some good as well. And if not, just you, your friends, other people you know are struggling as entrepreneurs or budding entrepreneurs, or just could do with some extra information in some of the fields that we cover, like organization, finance, customers, today the people side, and tomorrow executives. So there is something for everybody here. It's like a smorgasbord for entrepreneurs. Come and join us. You're always welcome. And we're now in more than 161 countries around the world in only 4 seasons, which is only a year, 3 months a season. So it's phenomenal what Donna and Bill have done in just a year. And you know, all the hosts, of course, have advertised this as well and done their best over the time. They're phenomenal hosts around the world, and it's a privilege for me to be amongst them. And also, you, the listener, have got an important job in this. Not only that you need to take in and do something with what you've got, but also spread the rumors. Like and share this with other people. You know, because the more people come to this, the more people will be able to get some benefit, and you'll be able to have discussion groups within your own small groups, wherever you're at. So join us. You are most welcome. And I'm your host, Jan Robberts, the inspirational entrepreneur, and this is the last episode, the finale of season 4, number 13. You can also always download the show notes on IBGR.network and also download podcast and, you know, find out so much more about the whole shows, what it's all about, our fellow hosts, and so much more. But join the community as well. Now I just started talking about episode 10 where it's about the intentional leader and how they influence for impact. Now, and those 3 I's are very important, because being intentional about the way you influence others will bring you positive impact in your life and business. But as always, I remind people, remember, nothing good happens by chance. Great things happen by choice. It's always at the bottom of my page as well, because I want to make sure that you make choices. You don't let things happen. And in episode 11, I actually talked about how values include valuing people. See, we can preach and practice about values. I mean, we have values-based leadership. There's a poster behind me as well that talks about values, and we have an amazing program that changes cultures of entire organizations and indeed entire countries. It transforms countries. But the role values play in any organization is dependent on how valued the people feel. See, it's not just a nice to have values on the wall. One of our quotes is in our program is that we take the values off the walls and put them in the hearts and the mind of people, beginning with the top management, of course. But it always starts with a leader. When you, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, value the people who work with you and for you and show them you do, you will not be surprised at the value they provide to you and the organization as a whole. It is automatic. It comes, as I said, automatically, because you will know that if you are actually on the back and micromanage people all the time and are actually, even though you've got wonderful values of the wall, integrity, honesty, developing people and all this kind of stuff, and yet you're not developing anybody, and you're only shouting and bawling when things go wrong, and never admitting that maybe you are the problem, we've seen this, by the way, and never admitting that, and never congratulating people for what they do right, but just get on their back when they're wrong. There's so many small things you can do, but also asking people how their families are. If you know, walk slowly through the crowd. Don't walk to your office and a quick good morning and that's all they see of you. No, get connected to people. Don't sit in your office at lunchtimes. Go and sit in a canteen if you've got one, or sit with other people and just chat with them. Be of value to people. to value people. Ask about their families, and if there is something wrong, go back to them. I heard your wife was not very well. How's she doing? Or maybe your child is in hospital. What's wrong? Is there anything we can do? And how are you doing? Do you need some time off? Simple little conversations will, and I can guarantee you, I know plenty of organizations that will never do that. They never look after their people, and they have a price to pay. And then they wonder why the people don't do what they're supposed to be doing, why they're so slow, and why they're this and why they're that, and it's all negative. And it is because you don't look after one of the biggest resources you have, the people in your business. Values matter, and value in people matters most. Then episode 12, I'm going to take a quick drink if you don't mind. Of good old water. But it was all about lifting the lid about your potential. Another area I love as a personal development. I've put a whole course together as well. 16 lessons about how you can grow yourself, your personal growth, and how you can lift the lid, and how you can develop yourself as a person, which again, it speaks to me all the time, and I want to help people and bring value to them. But human potential is everywhere at all times. We all have so much potential, so much more potential than we can even dream of, yet we act as if we're constantly limited. I talked about this in Mind Power as well, and we constantly keep the lid on our options, our possibilities, and our God-given potential, by the way. Nobody ever said that you've got to be mediocre or do the best with what you've got. No, what you've got is so much better than what you know. In this episode, I actually talked into ways in which we can blow that lid clean off, so we can actually start to live the way we desire and we richly deserve, by the way. As I said, God-given potential, we all got it, and most people take it to the grave with them. But as you can actually see from all the topics above, everyone has to do with people. And everyone has to do with the skills we can learn and we must learn. Now, if we ever want to become successful as an entrepreneur and as a person, neither of them are exclusive. See, become more intentional in all you do. Get to really know yourself. Start a personal development program. Look after your health and well-being, and gain those soft skills necessary to take you to the next level and beyond. And why? Because you deserve it. I always give advice to people, and at the bottom of my show notes it's there. You can find it every bottom of the page, because there is it's very simple. You can get as much knowledge from what we talk about, all our hosts, what they talk about, lovely. You can even make notes and all that, and then put them on the bookshelf for shelf development. I know it's a bit corny, but it happens. Or even type the notes up and never look at them again. Knowledge has never been power, but knowledge acted upon is power. And when you act upon it and then evaluate it every day, now that is powerful beyond measure, because that gives you the experience you need. And you need to ask yourself every day. Implementation is key, but you also need to ask, what did I do well? What could I do better? What do I need to change, and what do I need to ditch altogether? And what did I learn from today? Some simple things you can ask yourself, but remember, growth never happens by chance, it happens by choice. And I just, before I finish with a final story, I feel that, I just want to thank each and every one of you, the listeners, for having been here for all this time, having been with me on the radio, having been with me on Facebook, or watched it live, or maybe afterwards. It's been a great pleasure and an honor for me to have spent an hour with you every week for the last 8 months. Again, I hope you will stay with the channel as well. I know you will, because there is so much more to come. Amazing hosts around the world are joining all the time. But I also need to thank Bill Eastman and Donna Kunde first and foremost. Those are the two backbones, the two driving forces, the two people who've made all of this possible in the first place. So around about a year ago, when because we're season 4 and it's 13 weeks to a season, so this started, and they've driven it into the air, not into the ground, into the air. We're now in more than 161 countries around the world. They have helped and supported and guided me. They've encouraged me, and they will do the same to each and every one. If you know of somebody who is an entrepreneur and has got knowledge that they will share for an hour every week with other people, get in touch with them at the ibgr.network. They're always looking for more hosts, for people who are willing to share of themselves. But I am just grateful and glad that I've had this opportunity so far. And as I said, never say never. I'm just leaving the house, but I'm not leaving the family. So thank you, Bill and Donna. Thank you, my fellow hosts, for being there, for giving all you've got every single week. I appreciate you, and I know the listeners will appreciate you as well. And I want to finish with a short story about what we need to do. And it's a story about a wise old man. I've shared this before, but I think it's apt when we're through all this now with all the information. And there was two young boys living in the foothills of the Himalayas, and they got together because there was an old man, a wise old man, who was never wrong. And they were really peeved off about this because they tried every time, and every time the old man had an answer. But they came together, and one of them says, hey, today is the day, I've got it. He's going to be wrong. I says, how can he be wrong? He's never wrong. He says, yes, he's going to be wrong today because I'm going to have a bird behind my back, and I'm going to ask him if it's alive. And if he says it's alive, I'll go, sorry, bird lovers, it's hypothetical. And then it's dead, of course. And if he says it's dead, I'm going to open my hands and the bird will fly away, and surely he's wrong. Now they were excited about it, so they walked into the village where the old man lives, knocks on the door. I tell you the short story. Knock on the door and say, old man, wise man. He said, not old man, wise man. And he came to the door. Yes, young gentleman, what can I do for you? He says, we've got a question for you. Oh, okay. He says, wise man, I've got a bird behind my back. And I look at it, shut up, because surely today it's going to happen, it's going to be wrong. He said, I've got a bird behind my back. I want you to tell me, is it alive or is it dead? Now he grabs his chin and says, nah, that's interesting. But he said, I know you've got a bird behind your back, but whether it lives or whether it dies is in your hands. And that is exactly what you do with this information, people. Whether it works for you or whether it doesn't work, it's your choice. I've been your host all this season. My name is Jan Robberts, your inspirational entrepreneur. You can get me at Key Leadership Institute or JR Speakers Club. All my details are on the website. But have an amazing rest of your Easter weekend, and I'll see you sometime somewhere. Take care, but don't go away.